We may not win today, gentlemen, but we'll have a good time.
The whip fighter. What are we doing? We're going to take the whip. The whip has a unique set of properties. I don't think any other weapon has this combination. It's both a finesse weapon and a reach weapon. So we're going to take that combination of things and look at some interesting ways we can use that, some new tactics that kind of come into play, and just some really unique things that we can do with the fighter, because I think the fighter a lot of times has a reputation of just being a really straightforward, boring kind of thing to play. You're just good at whacking things with a weapon, and like the wizards and sorcerers and clerics and people get spells and do all kinds of fun stuff, and you're stuck just like whacking things with a stick or a pole or a sword or something. So with this, we can really think about different ways that we can kind of control a battle, and one of the things that I love, some ways that you can help out your teammates, ways that you can make it fun, a fun night at the gaming table for your friends and your buddies in your party. Okay, most obvious thing is, yes, of course, we're going to take 1d4 damage. It's not going to be crazy, but really, if you think about it, every dice that it goes up, a d4 to a 6 to an 8, that kind of thing, only bumps your average up 1. So yes, you're going to be doing a little bit less damage, but compared to a d6 or d8 weapon, it's just on average it's just 1 or 2 damage less. There's a lot of ways we can make up for that, and a lot of neat things that we can do with the whip anyway. So building this fighter, I think the optimum thing to do at level 1, this is going to be crazy that we can do this at level 1. If you're able to take the human variant and take a feat at level 1, take the Sentinel feat. Let's check it out. Starts on page 169 in the PHB. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, creature speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn. Hot! Creatures provoke opportunity attacks from you even if they take the disengage action before leaving your reach. Hotter! When a creature within 5 feet of you makes an attack against a target other than you, and that target doesn't have this feat, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against the attacking creature. Kind of cool, but in this build I think we're going to be saving our reaction to make opportunity attacks to stop people. That seems like one of the coolest things to me, but there's another option we got. What does that mean? The whip being a reach weapon, you have another 5 feet in your threat range, or how far you can be away from somebody to hit them. So instead of having to be right up against somebody or 5 feet away from them, you can be 10 feet away from them. The really cool thing about that is if you're fighting enemies that only have a 5 foot reach themselves, you can hit them and run away without disengaging or anything. They don't get an opportunity attack against you. So that's right away can be kind of a cool thing, especially as a fighter later on when you get a bunch of attacks. If you want to soften one target up and then really go distract or kind of tank with another, you can do that. You don't even have to risk an opportunity attack. What are we going to do though? We're going to go Battle Master with this build. The Battle Master has a lot of these maneuvers. We're going to go with some of the ones that add the superiority die rolls to your damage. It's going to make up for the whip being just a 1d4 a little bit. I think there's some other ways we can address that too, but we're going to pump up our dexterity as our main attacking, our melee stat. And since the whip's a finesse weapon, that's totally fine. We can do that. Dex is going to give us that cool bonus to Dex saving throws for a lot of the spells. You can make good use of it for your AC. Later on, fighters get a lot of feats if you want to pick up that defensive duelist feat. Then you have a competing reaction thing where it's like, do I save my reaction to fling away attacks, or use it for opportunity attacks to stop monster or an enemy that might get to your softer characters in your party? Well, now you've got some choices. Now you've got some tactics, some things to think about. I think that's going to be part of the thing that makes it a little bit interesting. But I would caution, be careful. Don't pick up too many things that burn your reaction, because you're going to want to use them in a little bit focused manner. You start picking up too much of them, it might be kind of tough to think about what you want to do each turn. Might second guess yourself too much, that kind of thing. But Battle Master, Dex, and it says, for your saving throws, you can, your choice, you can use your strength or your dex modifier to add to these. So hot. You get to pick out 3 right off the bat. Ah, I lied. It's not first level. We gotta take Battlemaster at 3rd level. That's fine. We can still do the stopping people trick at 1st level if you got the feat. But I guess since you won't get Battlemaster till later, that's okay. There's a lot of cool things we can do anyway. The 3 that we want to take are goading attack. That's going to be kind of that's how we're going to tank a little bit with this if we want to draw attention. Lunging attack, and I think pushing attack. There's a lot of good options here, especially with the whip. But like I said, things that I would caution against are things like riposte. You got to burn your reaction for that. Parry, it seems kind of cool, but you got to burn your reaction for that too. So think about those. There's a lot of good ones in here, and honestly, like, you can pick them up later on too. Commander Strike, it can just be so cool to help your buddies out. If they, you can imagine if someone's having a night where they just can't roll, they whiff all their attacks on their turn. You can forego one of your attacks as a fighter. You're gonna have a bunch of them. You could forego one of them. Let your friend try to make up their attack that they missed. That can be really fun. It can help somebody have a little bit more fun night if they're not rolling well too. I think about that in the back of my head too. Or if somebody's just like, hey, the paladin's ready to line up, or somebody just didn't quite finish off that monster, and you come up next in the round. That can be a cool thing to just, you shout out to them, encourage them, strike him down, and they get to make another attack and finish it off. That can be a really cool moment too, right? So that could be really fun. Think about that, maybe not just in the sense of like optimizing our character, but having a lot of fun with your party. I think that's a good one. Keep that one in the back of your mind. But goading attack, if you hit somebody, you roll that superiority die, you add it to the damage roll, and then they make a wisdom save. If they fail, they have disadvantage on attacks against creatures other than you. So if you hit with that, and it's when you hit, so you can decide afterwards. So if you want to put this on, I guess if you hit and then they fail that save, that's somebody that if you're near where your midliners or some of your softer characters are, if you can put that on, maybe that monster still goes to attack them, but at least you've given them disadvantage. You kind of help protect them. You're drawing attention towards yourself. Hopefully you can kind of be the tank in that situation. It's kind of, one of the things that we're going for here. Lunging attack, we can use that to extend our reach even more. If you run up and you get into a spot where your reach lets you get a bunch of different enemies, and there's one that's just a little bit outside your reach, I like that you'd be able to get them for that. The other thing is, if you run into a monster that does have reach itself, you can up your reach even more and still stay out of their reach and be able to hit them and pull off these shenanigans. So I like that one. That can be kind of cool. I also like pushing attack, keeping in mind that we're going to be trying to draw attention to ourselves or protect our party members or allies. I think it could be cool to, imagine you come a little later in the turn or something. You could pushing attack, push a monster off of one of your allies, and then with a subsequent attack, maybe use that goading attack or something else, or just push them back and then jump in between them. Try to protect them a little bit. There's a lot of different things you can kind of pull off with that one. So I like that one for being able to break up a melee, maybe. That's another way we can help our teammates out. Like that one a lot. But still, at level 1, we get that Sentinel feat, right, at level 1. So you can keep that in mind, tactically, if we want to say there's the big bad, or at least a stronger one in the group or something, and you want to keep that one off of your midliners or your softer characters. Go up, get them within your reach if you can get to other little monsters, and maybe do your damage to those other weaker mobs or monsters. And then some risk involved for sure, but it can, either if you get a goading attack off, then maybe that's kind of cool too. But there's gonna be some risk to it anyway. then you keep them within your reach of your whip. Well, if they leave that reach to go get to the softer character or something, you can use your opportunity attack. If you hit, you stop, they have wasted their turn, because it's just their speed drops to 0. So unless someone else is around them, which hopefully you're positioning yourself and your allies are too, that nobody will be, then hey, wasted, burned. So they're likely gonna draw their attention to you. But metagaming a little bit, if you burn your reaction, and your DM maybe knows it, and then that monster goes and hits your softer, you're kind of spending your reaction either way, right? If they don't do it, if your DM doesn't do it, the monster doesn't do it because it knows you're going to attack it, but it does something else or it attacks you, you've still, you've still accomplished what you're trying to do, draw attention off of your midliners. If you do have to burn your reaction, you get some extra damage, get an attack in on it, that's cool too. But really, think about it either way, we're accomplishing what we want to accomplish to help out our teammates. Fighting style, you can go protection fighting style if you want. It's another way you can kind of help tank. If you're fighting and you're giving disadvantage to the allies when enemies attack the allies that are next to you, you're going to draw a little bit more of their attention. If you're really concerned about that damage loss from the whip, you can take dueling. As long as you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you get +2 to your damage rolls. That's going to make the average of your D4 just like a D8. Your max is 6, but your average is going to be just the same. I think there's room for 2-weapon fighting down the road. When you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier into the damage to the second attack. It's a way to sneak a little bit extra damage in there too, but if you take the dual weapon wielder or something, one of the feats, you get +1 to your AC, and you can dual wield even if they aren't light weapons as long as they're one-handed. Well, now the whip, now you got 2 whips, and you're just like whoosh, 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 behind you, in front of you, side to side. It's going to be comically crazy, but you get another attack, as a bonus attack, and you get your full ability modifiers too and all that stuff. That's going to be sweet. Then, if you level up and you've got that, if you take this thing to higher levels, what's your extra attack? You get, so at 5th level you'd have 2, but then you'd have the bonus, you'd have 3. If you action surge, you've got 6. You get 3 at 11, which becomes 4 every turn, which becomes 8 when you action surge. And at 20 it becomes 4, which is 5, which is 10 when you action surge. That's awesome. Yeah, the other thing to think about that is there's all those attacks and you get all these chances to hit and then decide that you're going to use your maneuvers. So that can be kind of cool too. Keep that in the back of your mind. I don't think I'd always want to do it, but it can be another thing you can kind of tweak with. But those are good ones. Defense fighting style is always going to be good. It's going to help you if you're thinking about tanking, that kind of stuff. And with the fighter, getting so many ability score improvements, you might have room to really think about a lot of different feats, right? If you stick with the whole one-handed thing, consider taking Shield Master, page 170. That can be kind of cool. Little bump to your AC for dex saving throws. You can save for none in certain circumstances. Resilient, if you've pumped up your dexterity, then you take Resilient for dexterity. I think about this too. Like if you have an odd number in your dexterity, this is definitely min-maxing, gaming the system a little bit, but if you have an odd number in your dexterity and you don't have another place you really want to split that up when you level up, it's only going to increase your modifier by 1 anyway. Take this Resilient feat for your dexterity. You get to take that chosen ability score up by 1. Well, that gets you to the next bracket anyway if it was an odd number. Then you get proficiency in saving throws. That's going to be sick. If you pump up your dex and then you have proficiency with it, you're gonna be way more hardy against those spells that are dex saves and that kind of thing. Traps in a dungeon. It's just going to be so handy. There you go. All right, I hope you liked the whip fighter or the whip tank. I love the name maybe more than I should, but hopefully it's just got some fun new tactics, new ways to think about your combats, and combat encounters, and new ways to think about how you can interact with your teammates as a fighter, and just have more options with what you want to do on your turn. You're not just smacking stuff. You can be really tactical and help turn a battle, little skirmishes and battles and stuff. And hopefully, if you're feeling kind of bored with a fighter, like all you do is just kind of hit stuff, maybe just feel like you have to be a little bit more engaged with your character and have a little more fun with it. So, hope you enjoy it. Hope you like the video. I'll definitely do some more. I love cooking up these ideas. I'll see you guys next time.